I'm very excited because today's title is Aging as a Spiritual Practice. And I think that for most of us, aging, maturing, or getting old, as we have held it, has been something we've avoided, we've concerned ourselves with. We don't want it to happen. Some of us, some of us do it, but we go down fighting, I mean, I'm sure there's more than one person in this room that has invested some amount of money in maintaining their youthfulness, and I won't speak about how, okay? And that's okay, because I always say to my husband, I'm going down fighting too, okay? If I have the money, I'm doing what I have to do, to a degree. I mean, I just don't want to lie about it. But the thing I'm mostly excited about is in a couple of weeks I turn 60. And I can't believe that I'm excited. Yeah, 60 is looking really good to me now. And now I hear people say things like 60 is young, but, of course that's relative, The older we get, the more we think the older people are, yeah. I know Jeff just turned 60 this year. Who else? Yeah, that's right. Ingrid just turned 60. Back here, Kate and Mary. So we have a number of people who have that celebration. Yeah. But it's not the age. It's the consciousness. It's my spiritual practice that is affording me to say this to you with a smile on my face. I guarantee at 30, I couldn't have seen it. You see, unless you climb to a certain mountaintop, you can't see your options on the other side of the mountaintop. You have to get there to know it's okay. However, the younger as young as any of you are here, the more you anticipate it being a glorious, beautiful, and wonderful natural unfolding, the more it will unfold in your favor as you want it to be, instead of something that you dread. I mean, I thought at 30, I thought I was over the hill. So here's the thing. Age is a fact. Your experience, though, is your expectation. The number is simply a fact. Anything else is what you make up about it. Anything else is what you have adopted from society, what you have agreed with from doctors, when you look at the magazines. And I really feel for our young women in our country and what they're up against. I'm also glad, though, that it's finally changing. I'm so glad that they're using more magazines are beginning to use models where they're not all touched up and slimmed down and fixed up. I'm happy that that's happening, because most of us are in size 2. Have you noticed? We're just not. It's even good to feel good about physically where I'm at, even though it might not be my finished goal yet, because I have a goal that I'm working on. But it's good to feel good about where I am and what that and what that can look like for me. You have found yourself in a metaphysical, philosophical teaching, right here where you sit. You have found yourself surrounded by and influenced by a history of individuals who believe that it is by our thinking and by our declaration that we determine and declare and form our lives. And those of us who were in the Roots class the other night, we had a lot of fun we had a PDF created by a minister colleague of mine to see all of the history from, before Jesus all the way up to now, and all the influences upon this thinking that we call New Thought, which is, and I know you know this, it's not New Thought in any way. But right here, with this teaching, you and I have the luxury to not buy into the conditioning that they've attempted to dish out. You and I have that luxury. It has to be by choice. It has to be through self-awareness. It has to be by you choosing where you pay your attention. But depending upon where you what you place your attention on, that's going to create your experience. And here's the thing that happens. Well, although I was saying the other day, I remember I have a picture of my mother. I think I was about 5, and I was in the kitchen, I was shirtless, and I was making some kind of goofy face that you do when you're little. And my mother was there, and my mother looked like she was old. Now, my mother had 7 kids. She probably was worn out by the time I came along. I was number 7. But I think that was when I used to look at that picture and remembered about her. I lost her, way too young in my life. My picture of what it was like to age wasn't a great example. And then I remember, I had this funny thing that happened. When I became a minister, I thought I was going to have to get, not homely, when you, I thought that's what I was going to have to do. I thought I was going to have to, always wear everything buttoned up to here. And then I met a woman who was a minister, and her name was Gwen, and she wore these big brim hats and these beautiful clothes, and she was wild and sexy. I went, oh, somebody gave me a new model. See, sometimes we have to have a new model, because the problem with our own family sometimes, have you ever tried to remove yourself from the conditioning of your family and they didn't like it? Yeah. That's domestication, as laid out by Don Miguel Ruiz in the 4 Agreements. They like you to be like them, even if like that means being miserable, even if like that means being limited, or identifying yourself with it this is in our bloodline, My father died at 47, so you know what you can expect. No, you are not, I am not limited to our family bloodline. I am not limited, you are not limited to what was. You and I have the freedom to create and recreate according to the consciousness. And when you think of consciousness, you can think of it actually. So here, age is an attitude. And you could think of consciousness, this isn't the greatest word for it. Think of it as an attitude, though. And think of attitude as a filter. So if you take on the attitude that aging is a beautiful process, that it's wonderful and it's seamless and you're always going to be eternal, then that's the filter you will see life through, and you will pull information into you through that filter. Does that make sense? So as you expand and transform your consciousness, you get to choose what that's going to look like. If your attitude, or I'll say it 3 ways so you get used to all these words, if your attitude, your consciousness, or your filter is limited to, oh, I'm 50 and, I guess I can't go out dancing anymore, then or I guess I can expect pains, or I guess I can, I guess I better go see, get new glasses, and you just, if that is what's governing your information, you could be pretty sure your life is going to follow as according to your attitude, your consciousness, and your filter. Does that make sense? Yes. However, it's not true, because our filters are self-created. They're self-created. Now, we don't always get it right away. I didn't get this at 30. I don't know that I got it at 40. But as the luxury of, the one thing about aging is there's a wisdom that comes with it. And there's the I just don't care that comes with it. That's a beautiful thing. There's a freedom in that. I remember one time I was we were celebrating our ministerial class had completed its class, and we were out to lunch. And a woman who would co-teach every once in a while, an older woman, at that time, older woman in my mind, she was 73. Now I think, oh wow, that's good, But at that time she was older, and we were out to this restaurant, And she was flirting with this young waiter. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, oh my God. And I thought, how fun is that? She didn't care. She had the freedom. So I've come to realize, if you're younger than one of my sons, I can say something to you because you're like one of my sons. It's a freedom that comes with the wisdom of the age. And that is a beautiful thing. And it's interesting to me, you could not have convinced me a few years ago that I would have valued my emotional and spiritual maturity more than the size of my butt. You could not have convinced me that then. Now I'm like, wow, I'd rather be happy and loving myself than a model on a magazine. I'd rather be me in this mindset. You know, because I'm happy and I'm free. And I'm little quirky, and I'm good with that. But you couldn't have convinced me that a few years ago. A few years ago, I was still thinking, oh, you know, I gotta fix me. I gotta change me. So, can you adopt the attitude that where you are is so perfect and lean into that truth? Can you do that? Can you find the willingness to do that? To adopt yourself as a state of perfection and then suck the very marrow out of that bone so that it affects everything about you. You know, this is just a spacesuit, right? This is the spacesuit for this time around, this physical thing. What matters is what fills that suit. That's what matters. That's the place within where you are eternal and infinite and your state of perfection. That place inside where you've never been hurt, harmed, or injured in any way. That's what matters. So do me a favor. Say this aloud with me. I am the place where God lives, moves, and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. Now that's an attitude to live with. That's a filter to pull life through. That is a consciousness to cultivate. And I'm using all three of these languages because these terms, because depending on how much you've taken classes or you haven't taken classes, you'll relate to one more than another. But as you cultivate this thinking, as you choose, I mean, have any of you been on the dance floor when Bill Sarnowski's on the dance floor? Do we know that age is an attitude, right? This guy over here, my God, I'm not selling you out with your age, but holy God, 40. I thought Mary Riley was 40. She told me a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months back how old she was. I went, you are not. You know, it's the aliveness within you. Now, that's not to say you don't take care of your spacesuit. When I was a young girl, we were taught that this was our church, that our body temple was our church. And some of us don't take care of our church very well. We don't. Now, you can afford to eat whatever the heck you want if you have the consciousness to prove that you can. But if you don't have the consciousness and eating that causes an effect in your body that you don't like, I suggest you change the food. Either shift the consciousness or change the food. You got it? Because you and I cannot outcreate our consciousness. It governs everything. Everything all the time. So, stop acting your age. Act your spirit, act your joy, act your God, and act your consciousness as you reveal it and choose a new one. When people say act your age, that's not a good piece of advice. That's an admonishment. They're just holding you back. I don't ever want to act my age. I don't. And the truth is, it's a good thing. It's a really good thing to have a plan for how you want to leave this earth. I have a number, both my parents are gone, and 4 of my siblings are gone. One I lost in Nam. But my family, they love this. They have like a suffering club. So they have chosen to suffer before they leave. I'm going to tell you my plan. Go, 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 done. That's it. I'm setting myself up. That's the way it's going to be. Go, 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 done. And you want to decide that. Because you might have within you thoughts and beliefs that are governing you, but they'll continue to govern you until you become aware of them. Until you become aware. So today, the one exciting thing, I finally have a soapbox. I have a reason to get on one of my soapboxes. Some of you will recognize this. This is my soapbox. Stop saying how old are you, and ask people how alive are you. And we all do it. I still slip into it. So a baby walks into the room. Oh, how old is he? Not very. So what you and I do, we condition ourselves from the day we're born to ask somebody, how old are they? How old are you? How old, how old, how old? So what are we cultivating? Old! Old in terms of years and maturity and wisdom, not a bad thing. But I have a feeling that a lot of us are carrying an old idea of old. So let us ask ourselves, let's ask each other, and I'm going to beat this drum till go, 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 done. I'm going to beat this drum until that. Because I really think that we should shift how we encourage each other to think about ourselves. So what beliefs do you carry? As you're sitting here listening to me, what do you think about yourself? How do you label yourself? And those questions are what you're going to share today in the getting to know you gathering. You cannot transform something unless you become aware of it, folks. Remember, awareness is curative. In order to get to that state of awareness, though, you have to pay attention and ask the questions. So, I would like you to say this with me, if you will, please. I am ageless. My life is the expression of God as me. I show up acting my joy, my enthusiasm, and eternal self. Life is good. God is good. I am a perfect expression of this eternal and infinite good. And so it is.